Well, it was a packed house in Salem last night as dozens of people showed up to testify on a bill that would impose higher taxes on beer and wine in Oregon. If it passes, House Bill 3197 would tax alcohol when it's sold to consumers, starting at 2% next year and going up to 8% by 2032. The money would go to fund addiction programs for kids. The bill was sponsored by Representative Tanya Sanchez, who represents North and Northeast Portland.
It is no secret that I have been working on a beer and wine tax for many, many years in this legislature because I truly believe that we need to get to a place where we can actually fund some of the really deep issues that we have with addictions and the struggles that many people in our community have.
But there was quite a bit of opposition to the bill. In fact, the vast majority of people who testified last night don't want it to pass. Many of them work in Oregon's famous craft beer and wine industry, like Lisa Allen.
Oregon's 300-plus breweries create about 50,000 jobs for Oregonians throughout the state. Many brewery pubs and tap rooms are community gathering places where they host club meetings, birthday parties, nonprofit fundraisers, and just give folks a spot to meet up with friends. We give back to our local communities in the form of goods and funds to help local nonprofits, as well as help drive tourism throughout the state. Inflation, supply chain issues, and a decrease in visitors have been tough during the last few years, and now we have tariffs to add to that list. Most craft beer is a luxury item and is already on the more expensive side. Adding a point of sales tax to beer will drive the consumer to purchase cheap commodity beer, all of which is produced out of state, that small Oregon breweries just can't compete with cost-wise.
But supporters of the bill said more money needs to go into helping kids fight addiction. They say the system is broken and families often have trouble finding the right resources.
We are in the midst of a youth addiction crisis in Oregon, and the lack of sustainable funding for prevention, treatment, and recovery services has left too many young people without hope or help. House Bill 3197 is an opportunity to change that. By implementing a gradual and reasonable tax on alcoholic beverages, this bill will generate much needed funding to expand access to youth addiction recovery programs, peer mentorship, and prevention efforts across the state.
But a Republican lawmaker says the state already has enough money going toward the addiction crisis. It's just not spent wisely.
It's my opinion this legislature needs to stop asking Oregonians to be their ATM machine every time we have a new idea. Instead, we should do what Oregonians do when they have limited funds. They prioritize from most important to least important. I think $250 million ought to be adequate to fund addiction services properly. In my view, the problem is not money, but rather with OHA and no clear strategy using best practices and accountability how they're spending the money.
The bill is still bouncing around in House committees and does not yet have a full House hearing or vote scheduled just yet. We'll keep you posted. We're back right after this.